Vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. From fighting wildfires with air support, helping civilians in flooded neighborhoods, to delivering food and supplies to those who have lost everything, the Army National Guard always responds when disaster strikes. The Army National Guard also trains to be ever vigilant against threats, foreign and domestic. They protect our skies with missile defense weaponry. They secure our information, communications, and infrastructure with cybersecurity. And they protect us against chemical, biological, and radiological hazards with the civilian support team. The Army National Guard also stands ready to deploy and provide support for conflicts or humanitarian missions abroad. Join the Army National Guard and be there to respond, protect, and support your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the South Dakota Army National Guard. Aired by the South Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
And here's what you need to know.
The Carolina Panthers have officially named Baker Mayfield their starting quarterback for Week 1 against the Cleveland Browns. And this is what head coach Matt Rule had to say about that today.
At the end of the day, we felt like Baker's made a lot of progress in a short amount of time, kind of in the things I've talked to you guys about. And so we felt like it was right to make that move for this team, right now.
The Minnesota Vikings acquired quarterback Nick Mullins from Las Vegas Raiders today for a conditional 2024 draft pick. New York Giants rookie Kayvon Thibodeau has an MCL sprain and is expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks, but his ACL and meniscus were intact, so they're hopeful that he will be ready for their regular season opener against the Titans on September 11th. In the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies have expressed interest in Kevin Durant. They do have 5 first-round picks, but sources say that they are not willing to make Jaren Jackson Jr. or Desmond Bane available. Today in Major League Baseball, the Royals beat the White Sox 6-4. I'm Monsi Bolaño.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, live interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest local stories. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome back in. We're ready. Are you ready? How are you doing? You had a nice weekend. It's always a great day in the Black Hills. We're back live on Fox Sports Rapid City. The Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. A great guest lineup, and we are ready to roll. 106.7 FM, 1150 AM. Bring us up on the radio. Watch us live on YouTube right now. The Nate Brown Show. Subscribe to the channel, and you've got us. The Nate Brown Show. Also on Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, follow the show and watch us at Nate Brown Show. We are ready to go on a great Monday. We're brought to you in part by the Rehab Doctors, the non-operative experts in the Black Hills when it comes to back pain, muscle pain, neck pain, the injuries that can be treated without surgery. See the Rehab Doctors, board-certified specialists in Rapid City. For pain relief without surgery, you have a choice for your medical care. No referral necessary. You take your first step to feeling better. Start at therehabdoctors.com. The Nate Brown Show on a Monday featuring some great guests, local, regional, national. We'll get after it here after the first weekend of high school football in the books. A lot of 9-man games. And how about some impressive teams? We're going to talk to one of the head coaches just out east a little bit, the Wall Eagles. Are the Wall Eagles the real deal? Anybody out in Wall? Are you guys the real deal? I'm telling you. They just blew away their first opponent, 50-0. Wall Eagles head coach is Lex Heathershey. Is going to join us tonight. A lot of people saying the Wall Eagles, a great football tradition, right, could make a run this year. We'll talk to Coach Heathershey coming up. Then the national stuff. Let's get Jerry Brewer on tonight, national columnist. He's been popping around all the training camps. Jerry said he can join us tonight. Washington Post national columnist. We'll talk NFL and some updates from him. Gary Sharp is in. It's game week. College football's back. Anybody ready? I'm ready, man. I'm juiced for this. College football is back. Huskers, Northwestern, Saturday. Gary Sharp's in it. 1620 The Zone. Omaha joins us live talking Huskers today. Michael McCleary's on, South Dakota High School football writer, Argus leader from Sioux Falls. And Matthew Collar's going to pop in from the Vikings training camp, purpleinsider.com. Vikings insider Matthew Collar on tonight. A packed Monday show. We've got you covered. Let's get you on tonight. Glad to be back on a Monday. 720-1067 is our number. 720-1067 if you want to join us on the Boss Pizzeria and Sports Bar Sports Line Live. And also the Barron's Wilson text line ready to go. Text the show directly, 720-1067 on the Barron's Wilson text line. All right, so now we're all set and ready to go. A lot of things to cover today on Monday. You know, I know it's just preseason football and all that stuff, but a lot of things to cover. One of which is the news out today, and I'll credit the Argus leader from Sioux Falls with this news. So here's the news out today. I'm going to start the show with it, and then we'll get into a question of the day. I want your feedback on it. So here's the news, and I don't know if people are actually going to do this. I have a feeling we might have some of it. I don't know how much of it, and I don't know how big it will be. So here's the news. Today in South Dakota, Argus leader reporting the South Dakota High School Activities Association will be looking at changing language potentially around the name, image, and likeness sponsorships for South Dakota high school sports. Okay, so you and I on this show have talked name, image, and likeness a lot. We've talked name, image, and likeness a lot. I find it intriguing, the business side of sports, the impact on college sports, recruiting, the whole thing. And I think it's a major new chapter in sports. We haven't discussed it much with high school because we always looked at it and said, will it go to high school? And we looked at these other states that have started doing it in high school, like Minnesota. And you got the Twin Cities there. You got some pretty big populations, but Minnesota just launched this here a couple of months ago, right? Last month, couple of months ago. And they had their first high school sponsorship. And now South Dakota is going to look at it. That's according to the executive director of the Activities Association, Dan Swartos, we've had him on a lot. We'll try and get him this week as well, because coming up they have their legislative cycle to discuss changes to, pretty big changes to things. So the current language for the Activities Association in South Dakota when it comes to high school sports, current language restricts athletes' ability to have any profit off their name, image, and likeness. It's the old school way. High school athletes can't do anything when it comes to name, image, and likeness because one of the big reasons was your college eligibility is going to be out the window. So now, Dan Swartos of the Activities Association runs the show there in Pierce, says that college eligibility part is now not an issue, okay? Because name, image, and likeness is all over college sports. And we're going to talk to Mike McCleary. He's the Argus leader writer. He was covering this, and we'll talk some high school stuff with him as well from Sioux Falls tonight on the show. He's coming up. But he has this situation out there saying, well, there's some potential here that you could then change the language at their upcoming meeting, and then South Dakota high school students, the door would be open for South Dakota high school students to profit off their name, image, and likeness. And so here we go. I feel like there's two hard camps here. When I say hard camps, setting up, the silos. There's one camp that's going to say this should never, ever be involved in sports in general, in quote-unquote amateur sports. Some people that don't want it in college sports either. And then that same camp says this for sure shouldn't be in high school sports. And now this is even going to be in South Dakota high school sports. And then there's the camp that says we should be able to do whatever, whenever. These kids should be able to profit off of anything, right? And then they also say there's going to be no consequences or ramifications from this. This is just an individual athlete and their ability to sign a sponsorship deal or do a camp or whatever it is. And sometimes that camp also walks that line of, they're sometimes a little naive how it can maybe impact the team dynamic, the team culture, the high school setting. Would there be any possible way that certain high schools that have sponsors or business people behind them, whether that's in Sioux Falls or here, would there be any possible way that somebody says, yeah, we might want to get the best quarterback in town, or we might want to get the best point guard in town? Would there be any possible way? You would think, oh no, this is South Dakota high school sports. This is pure. And I'm going to say 90% of the time, I think you're right. 90% of the time, big dollars aren't going to be flowing around here, and we're signing this deal to bring this kid from Harding County over to Wall. We're not going to sign those deals, right? So there's going to be schools and student athletes that aren't impacted by this at all, and there's going to be quite a few, by the way. But it is interesting because you can't be totally naive on it. You can't be totally, there isn't going to be any issue at all. Because guess what? I've learned along the way during the college athlete name, image, and likeness fiasco that we've got going on, it was supposed to be for sponsorships, car dealerships. I'm going to sponsor this restaurant. I'm going to sign this camp and run this camp and make some money. I'm going to sign some autographs. We all thought it was going to be hunky-dory. Oh, it's just going to be fine, right? And then it turned into contracts, basically the pay-to-play. I'm signing the best players with the most money. And so I'm telling you, in South Dakota high school sports, there's probably not those once-in-a-lifetime athletes that are going to be, unbelievably compensated, even in South Dakota. But there are some of these athletes along the way, there are, I believe, that could probably catch some attention and say, this kid here is special. Maybe we should sponsor him to bring him to this school. It could happen, and I think we got to make sure that we do it the right way. That's my point with this. If the Activities Association is going to do this, which it sounds like they are looking at it, here in South Dakota, they are looking at it, we got to do it the right way, making sure there's some language and some limits, okay? In college, the way they did it in college, there was no limits. There was no regulation. It was a free-for-all, and it still is. Let's go to the phones. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Well, I think you already know where I'm. Oh,
do I have you? Can you hear me?
Are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
All right. We already know where I stand on this whole.
I do know
I'm
that.
giving Billy Joe $1 million because I think he can catch me a pass. All right. That's like this weekend. We had a team from Rapid City, Babe Ruth World Series. Made it to the semis.
Yes.
All right. Let's do more towards the high school what this guy's doing.
What do you got?
They did with that sliders. Instead of giving one kid money, how about you just kick in money, buy a bus, buy some uniforms?
Oh, I got you. I got you. Support the team in general. Support the team in general.
Because, come on, Nate, let's be real honest.
I got you on that. I like that.
I tell you what, I'd go back to watch a Larry Lujan's game. I would love to see a Jason Sutherland game at Watertown again. I mean, Eric Piakowski hitting 30-footer. Yeah, we had some good athletes.
Yep.
But, come on, Nate, where's that big name? I mean, where's that? Where's that one? So why give it to one athlete or two or three when you can give $25,000 or buy a bus?
I see. I think you make a pretty good point, actually. I mean, I really do. Whether I'm going to sponsor this team or this school, we have some of that. But now, and that's the thing. You got to be careful when you do go to the one athlete thing. Are we enticing them to come here or come there? That's my worry. A little bit. I don't know if anybody's that good.
I guess I don't see the talent. I guess I don't know. Why don't the kid go get a job at Mickey D's and get my order right? Come on, Nate.
There we go.
Nate, did your brother have a job when he played football?
High school, yes. College, it was tough. It was tough. He was poor.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. God, did he survive, Nate?
He did.
Did he get to put on a uniform? Did he get a diploma? Did he move on in life?
Full ride. Yeah. He didn't have to pay anything for school. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
You know, if you were as good as he was, you wouldn't have to either, Nate.
That's right. I know that. I've heard that my whole life. Okay, buddy.
I'm just saying, why are we paying people for doing nothing?
All right, man. I got you. Good to have you on today. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I wanted to ask you this. I wanted to make it personal today. Let me make the question of the day personal, okay? I like making this personal. Let's have some fun. Would you let your high school son or daughter, maybe you don't have a son or daughter, maybe you have, okay? Would you, I'm getting ready to have one, okay, in high school. Unbelievable. Not quite yet, but close. I'm an old man. It's a sad state of affairs. Would you let your high school son or daughter sign a name, image, and likeness sponsorship here in South Dakota? Let's say, hey, you got a great athlete. That first name, image, and likeness sponsorship in Minnesota, I told you Minnesota did this just a month or two ago. I talked about it here on the program. That first signing was a female athlete. A female athlete signed a deal with a bank. They signed a deal with the bank. I don't know what the dollar amount was, the whole thing. I don't think anybody's going, in South Dakota, nobody's going to get rich on this deal. This isn't going to be unbelievable six-figure deal, okay? Let's not get crazy. But my question is, there's a couple of things. Is this the right step for South Dakota to do it? Saying, okay, the language before was to save the high school kids from not bagging their college eligibility. If they were going to be a college athlete, don't ruin your eligibility because the NCAA says you can't make any dollars. Now that's changed for college, and so South Dakota says, as a high school athlete, maybe we should change the language, and the Activities Association is pursuing the possibility of opening the door for high school athletes to profit off their name, image, and likeness. And so there's a couple of things there. Is it the right call? And then, personally, would you let your kid do that? That's my question of the day. Quite a few votes so far, 720-1067. If you want in on a Monday, the Nate Brown Show getting started. Interesting news. I mean, this is interesting because here's why I find it interesting. The National Federation of High School Associations, NFHS, that's the national board, right? They oversee high school activities. They didn't want this. Right away, the National Federation of High School Associations, they didn't want state activities associations to really go down this road. I haven't seen their latest statement from the NFHS. I haven't seen if they've shifted gears here or not. But initially they said, we don't want to get into high school stuff on this. We don't want to go down this road of name, image, and likeness in high school. Yet there's states that started doing it, and now South Dakota may be added to the list. Would you let your high school son or daughter do it? Yes, no problem at all. You would let her or him sign that deal, or no, you would just shut that door and just playing high school sports. You don't need to sign a deal here, make money here. Would you let your high school son or daughter do it? It's the question. What's the poll result? A lot of votes, and it's lopsided. 77% of the audience says, yes, I'd have no problem with my son or daughter doing it. 77% yes in South Dakota. You would let your high schooler do it right now? So look at that public polling on the Nate Brown Show for the Activities Association. I'm already setting you guys up. They're thinking about changing it, and now I'm setting you guys up. Maybe everybody's going to be happy with it. 23% say, no, I would not let my son or daughter do it. 23%. I asked a question earlier. Let me get back to this. I want to make sure I don't lose this. I asked a question earlier. Basically, do you think we should have it in high school sports? That was when this started coming out. I asked this earlier. What's the result on this? I'm trying to find this. I got this sent to me. And the result was, no, you didn't want it in high school sports. 60% of the general audience initially didn't like the name, image, and likeness stuff in high school sports. Now today, South Dakota's looking at it, and 77% on a Monday say, yeah, I'd let my son or daughter do it. Thanks for calling. You're live today, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate, thanks for taking my call.
What do you think?
I have a really dumb question. What's the purpose of name, image, and likeness at the high school level? Is it to recruit from other schools, or is it from
maybe? So there's one. There's one.
Or to keep them to have them stay, or is it to help them out with college? I know that sounds really dumb, but it's like,
and
what the heck?
I say this to you. I think maybe all of those. I mean, really. Right. I mean, I think it's. Yeah. Do I make a little money because maybe my family needs? I want to go to this camp or that camp. Maybe.
Right.
Is it some crazy booster that says, I want you to come play football at Sioux Falls, Roosevelt? I just pulled it.
Yeah, I get that. But in that case, as far as, I would have no problem. For me, it would be grandsons and granddaughters, not sons and daughters.
Okay.
Anyway.
You wouldn't have a problem with it?
No, but it just seems so out there. I don't know. But you're right. It'll probably happen. But anyway.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
The call.
Oh, thanks for getting in. I appreciate that. I mean, he went through. He's like, what's the point of South Dakota high school athletics or athletes having name, image, and likeness opportunities? I believe it will happen. I do. I don't know. It's not going to be major. But just wait. You know why? Because there's always that human element of, I want to be the first to do this. And I'm not talking about the kid, but I'm talking about the kid's parents who know a business owner who are like, yeah, let's do this. It's going to happen. And it's interesting. I don't think South Dakota would even be looking at it if they didn't maybe hear. Oh, maybe we should look at this for South Dakota. Maybe we should look at this. Let's update some votes here. Would you have your son or daughter do name, image, and likeness sponsorships if you have a good athlete in the family? So let's see. Would I have gotten a deal when I was in high school? Probably not. I had to work at McDonald's at 15. I actually had to work at McDonald's. I couldn't do any sponsorships. And now look at how far I've come. Look at how far. My brother, would my brother have gotten some deals in high school? I don't know. He was a good player. Played D1 football, right, at Wyoming, full ride. He was a 3-year starter, so great player coming out of a small town in Montana. No, he still picked rocks in the summer, literally. In high school, he picked rocks. That's just that Brown family tree, I'll tell you. We're tougher than a $2 steak, I will tell you. By the way, good life lesson, Would I have taken sponsorships back in the day, or was it good for me to work on the oil pipeline? Which was better? Which was better? Should I have just stayed with the oil pipeline, and did I learn more there? I say that not jokingly, by the way. Listener text. Absolutely, I would let my son take an NIL deal if it helped provide some funding for him to get a quality education. Every little bit helps. Good point. I like that. See, that's what I mean. I think automatically a lot of people go negative right away. I said these two camps. One camp said we should never have this in the first place. Another camp maybe get a little too naive. Oh, this is just great. Nothing's going to impact sports. It won't impact teams or anything like that. Nobody's going to recruit with this. Oh, no, this is going to be kumbaya for everybody. That's not the case either. But it's not all negative. That's what I've always said with name, image, and likeness, I believe. Listener text, absolutely, I would let them, or I would make them put it in their college tuition fund. Okay, I like that. We have some reasonable responses. If this issue, listener text, if this issue of NIL becomes law of the state, then get ready for more fierce fighting in the stands by the parents because they're wanting to get those dollars for scholarships or NIL sponsorships. So the stakes are even raised higher. Now we got college scholarships on the line and an NIL deal with the Nate Brown Show. We don't pay much. See, that's the thing. We look at this. I looked at this on the college ranks and I said, maybe we should work with some college athletes, provide some help for them, like here locally. Would we get into that? We didn't go down that road. I was told to do that a lot. I was told, hey, you should get this, you should do that, and be a sports marketing agent for some of these players. And I said, nah, I think it's okay. I don't need to get in that lane. But I'm going to tell you this. I'll give you my answer to my own question of the day. I don't think it's all negative. So the South Dakota Activities Association today saying, we're going to look at doing this, allowing South Dakota high school athletes. We would have to change language here. This is a pretty big change for legislative session here. And I would say if they do this, okay, my daughter's getting ready. If she ever had an opportunity, I'll just personally, of course I would do that. Of course I would let her do that. It's all going to be within reason, right? But I wouldn't shut that avenue off and, oh, no, you can't do this, because I don't think it's as negative as some people say, but I don't think it's as innocent if you don't do it the right way. I hope the Activities Association has some language. We regulate it. We really think it through. Matthew Collar's coming up next as we get started on the Nate Brown Show. Good stuff. A lot of you say you would let your son or daughter do it. 75% now is the vote. 75%, yes, I'll let my son or daughter do it in South Dakota if they do it. 25% say no. Matthew Collar covers the Vikings. They just brought in a new quarterback. What do you think? We'll discuss next.
From high school to college to the pros, this is the Nate Brown Show on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid City.
At Ace Steel and Recycling in Rapid City, our goal is to make recycling your materials so quick, so easy, and so profitable that you'll become a lifetime recycler. At Ace Steel and Recycling, we buy, process, and ship scrap iron, automobiles, stainless steel, and aluminum, including cans and cast. We also buy insulated wiring, as well as copper, brass, lead, batteries, zinc, and tungsten carbide. Visit acesteelusa.com or give us a call at 342-8649. Ace Steel and Recycling, 2830 Eglin Street, Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Partly cloudy tonight with lows around 65. Winds out of the northwest 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tomorrow. Highs around 90. Overcast. Lows level off around 63. Tomorrow night, chance for scattered thunderstorms. Chance for scattered thunderstorms Wednesday and Thursday, 86. Wednesday, 81. Thursday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 88.
Hey sports fans, it's Rob from the Firehouse Skybox, inviting you to make us your home for the NFL this season. We really wanted Rapid City to have a premier sports bar with great service and great food, and that's why we started the Skybox. We have 35 big screens. We'll show every NFL game all season long. Plus, we'll have great specials for you to join us on Monday nights, Thursday nights, and all day, of course, on Sunday. The Skybox has the best food and the best experience for NFL football. Check us out on game days, and we look forward to serving you at the Skybox above the Firehouse in downtown Rapid City.
Hi, it's Nate Brown for Black Hills Community Bank. If you run your own company or you're looking to start a small business here in the Black Hills, you want to make sure you choose the right banking partner, and I know the right choice for business is Black Hills Community Bank. They have plenty of banking options to suit your specific needs, and Black Hills Community Bank is here to help business owners thrive and to make sure you have the support and tools to help your business grow. Just contact one of their business loan experts today or visit bhcbank.com. Member FDIC.
What can Elevate Performance do for your athlete? Maggie Taylor, Hill City High School.
We can't thank Rihanna at Elevate Performance enough. After my surgery, we started an intense rehab program. Since my recovery, we have met with Rihanna on occasion to help strengthen my body so an injury doesn't happen again. I feel like I couldn't be where I am at today as an athlete without the help of Rihanna at Elevate Performance.
Get your athlete started at ElevatePerformanceSD.com.
For nearly 100 years, Connex has been providing the know-how and materials to help their neighbors grow. Through partnerships with builders, homeowners, and contractors, Connect Home Centers have impacted our communities, making them stronger and safer through support of local organizations and neighborhood beautification projects. Improving the quality of life for others is important to us. We are Connect Home Center, your hometown lumberyard lending a helping hand in building our communities since 1928.
Hi, this is Dan Patrick. Remember to catch me weekday mornings from 7 until 10 a.m. right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 a.m. Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, back to Rapid City's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Rapid City, 106.7 FM, 1150 AM, the Black Hills Sports Station. Packed lineup tonight. Good stuff as we get started. Oh, you know what's coming up this weekend, right? You know? All right. Preseason, Vikings-Broncos. Vikings-Broncos. I always love regular season, this matchup, but preseason, we got to get an update on the Vikings. Let's do it. Matthew Collar, all over it, Vikings camp. PurpleInsider.com, and he joins us live on the Nate Brown Show. Find him on Twitter, Matthew Collar, at Matthew Collar. Matthew, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I mean, who isn't ready for this third preseason game?
That's what I'm saying. By the way, how do you think coaches should approach this? This is the bigger question. So, Broncos coach Nathaniel Hackett's kind of going low key. They got blown away by Buffalo Saturday. Didn't play starters. Doesn't sound like he's going to do that in this third game, which some teams do, or at least a portion. It doesn't sound like Hackett's going to do that. He's kind of going the Sean McVay, not totally. What do you think of the approach?
I think that the old days of you and I as little kids, when we would say, wow, the starters are going to play the whole first half. Yay, we get to see John Elway and Jim Kelly go against each other for at least a half of football. I don't think kids of the next generation will enjoy what we got to see in preseason, man. I think that they're going to see nothing. And that even like 5 years from now, I mean, these things are just going to be pointless exhibitions if they're not already. The game that I was witness to on Saturday was just offensive. I mean, it was players who have no chance of making the team playing terribly. And then a bunch of people showed up, and the NFL knows that. But at some point, like, fans have to start saying there is no reason to show up at these games because you're just not going to see anyone. However, I think the coaches are right for doing it because last year I watched the Vikings play Irv Smith Jr. in the final preseason game because they needed a tune-up, and he tuned up his knee and didn't come back for the whole season. I mean, you can't have that. You can't be losing players to preseason games. These guys are so well prepared. When they arrive on the spot at training camp, they know the playbook inside and out. I mean, these guys, they're 365, 24/7. This isn't the old NFL where guys play themselves into shape. They're ready to go, and they find other ways. They do joint practices and stuff like that to get their starters into shape. So once you get to week one, remember, I mean, a couple of years ago we had no preseason. It made no difference at all. The football was great right off the bat. So, yeah, I think that it's become like sort of a relic of the past, and the NFL still makes money off it, so they'll still keep doing it. But I would not suggest buying tickets to those games hoping to see your favorite players.
I think you're right on that. I saw the Broncos, a home opener. It was packed. It was packed. And I said on the show, Matthew, I'm like, somehow, some way, I mean, fans are getting hosed, yet they're still going because they're so hungry for football. How do you think the NFL does deal with it? And then we'll get to the Vikings situation. But how do they deal with it? Do they just keep going this way because, hey, 4 preseason games, we have tickets sold, we're good to go?
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do, is that they'll just keep saying, like, well, there's position battles to be had, folks. And one of the things we know about football fans is, gosh, they know absolutely everybody on these rosters. I mean, they know every position battle, backup quarterback battles. I mean, look at us, right? We got the backup quarterback situation and thousands of people tweeting about it today when the Vikings get a player who, if the guy ever plays, that means your season has gone completely down the toilet. And yet, everyone's got huge hot takes about it, right? It's like, folks, we have to stop doing this. But there's nothing else to talk about because they're making sure that these guys are not going out there. But at the same time, do you want to see, Russell Wilson get hurt in preseason and be lost for the season or something? In the past, every year there would be some quarterback that tore his ACL or whatever. Was it Cam Newton hurt his shoulder on a run in preseason? I remember Buffalo, Sammy Watkins got drafted super high and then gets hurt in his first preseason. Like, nobody wants that, right? So I think it's maybe like enjoy the football atmosphere and watch a glorified practice, but it's a pretty putrid product if you're going to do it.
Yeah, I believe it. So you think O'Connell's going light too? They're not going to play anybody. Is that the deal?
I would be shocked if they do, because even Kevin O'Connell said they're going to have 2 really hard padded practices out of the next 3 days, which was a pretty strong indicator to me that they have no interest in playing these starters, that they are basically treating hard practices like preseason games. And, I mean, I think that's fine. Like, I really do, as far as the team's actual performance. And, look, I mean, you would sacrifice in week one some communication issue or something else like that for 17 games to make sure your quarterback plays. And the other thing is, too, that way back in the day, I mean, they didn't have the video capabilities they do now. But now I see people on Twitter who are football coaches breaking down every X and O of every play that happens in preseason. So these coaches can't show anything. Like, they can't run their real schemes because every single other team is going to see it. So there's no motivation whatsoever for the coaches to play their actual starters or do anything that's game plan. So they've found kind of ways around that, and I think that's the smart way to coach. I really do. I just feel bad for any fan that paid any amount of money for tickets. I mean, I think I wrote in my recap article, like, as the sun went down, fans should have gone running for the lake or whatever, just anything that was not this football game.
Matthew Coller on tonight, PurpleInsider.com. Vikings-Broncos preseason this weekend. But the news is this, and I am going to ask you. Nick Mullins gets signed, okay? Was with San Francisco. We've seen him play because they had injuries there. Had a little run there with San Francisco in Kyle Shanahan's system. So the Vikings go and get him, and you're looking at, okay, Sean Mannion, Kellen Mond. Why did the Vikings do this? Start there.
Well, you didn't watch Saturday's game, and I don't blame you, because if you did, you wouldn't ask. I mean, it was so bad. It was so bad. I mean, Kellen Mond threw two of the worst interceptions you're ever going to see. I think combined, they threw for 147 yards against San Francisco's backups. I mean, through the preseason, those two quarterbacks are averaging less than 6 yards per pass attempt. I mean, look at what Geno Smith is doing. Like, Geno Smith is an NFL backup quarterback, and the guy is just destroying the preseason, as you should. These two guys can't even, like, complete passes. They've scored, 27 points total in 2 preseason games. It's been miserable, and that's exactly what it's looked like in practice on a daily basis. They just cannot get the football to the wide receivers when they get reps, either one of them, Mond or Mannion. And Mond is worse than Mannion. So they had to do something, because if Cousins goes down, you have to give yourself somewhat of a chance. But I wouldn't say that, Nick Mullins gives you much of a chance. Think about the teams that I remember Nick Mullins getting some mild credit, and I have no idea why, because when you look at the teams that he was on, they went to the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship with healthy Jimmy Garoppolo and won like 4 games with Nick Mullins. I mean, it's just not really anybody you could put in. And not only that, but Philadelphia got rid of him and traded for Gardner Minshew, and now Jared Stidham beat him out with the Raiders. I don't have a whole lot more confidence in him than I do in Sean Mannion. It was kind of, though, like the best you could possibly do, considering that who's going to give you their good backup? Like, the Giants aren't sending you Tyrod Taylor or something. If a team has a good backup, they're just going to keep them. So this was basically the best option of a human being who has won football games before on a good team.
Okay, so it was the best option. So you would say, Matthew, smart move they had to do.
I guess. I mean, I guess. Like, here's the thing that you need to not do. Last year, they sent a 4th-round draft pick for a backup tight end from the Jets who never played. Like, that is bad. The year before it, they traded a 5th-round draft pick for a kicker/punter. And I'm not kidding. They once said that maybe he could do both. Like, those things are ridiculous and senseless. This is fine. Like, yeah, why not add another body here? But if Kirk Cousins goes down for more than 1 football game, your season is over. End of story. There's no other reason to talk about this. Like, that's it. I mean, Nick Mullins is not saving you. This isn't Case Keenum back in 2017. I mean, Case Keenum is a really good quarterback in comparison to, most of the league's backups. That's not what you're getting in Nick Mullins. So, yeah, smart, but also not great anticipation on their part. I mean, if you watched Kellen Mond's preseason last year and you've ever even heard of Sean Mannion,
right,
then you know that those are not real backup quarterbacks. So then they were forced at the last second to bring in somebody who no one else wants. Like, these other teams are just getting rid of. So, yeah, I mean, it's like smart as in kind of the only thing you could really do right now without screwing yourself over, but not great for them. Like, they should have seen this coming.
Talking Vikings, they bring in Nick Mullins, backup QB, and what does that say for Mond now, his career? Probably not good.
Yeah, I mean, there was like that brief moment where some draft people really decided that they liked Kellen Mond, and I think that it shows you why it's so hard to draft quarterbacks, right? Like, because everybody will talk you into every single quarterback having a chance, and then the guy goes out there and you're like, oh, nope, because there's only like 24 human beings in the world who can reasonably play quarterback and have a halfway decent chance to win or be really good. So it's not surprising that Kellen Mond went the same route as Davis Webb or Kyle Laletta or the 100 other quarterbacks, the Kevin Hogans. But, you know, I think they expected he might be able to be a backup, and it's been just nowhere close. It just has not been – it hasn't been remotely what you would expect from a backup quarterback. It's been what you'd expect from an XFL quarterback.
Matthew Coller on. Let's talk Vikings here. What do you say about the most impressive offensive player in the preseason in camp? Not talking the games. Who are you impressed with early seeing him?
Well, yeah, I mean – Justin Jefferson.
Okay, like, I was wondering.
Yeah, right. I mean, well, here's the thing. There's two guys that have kind of stuck out to me. Jefferson is one of them naturally because he's one of the best football-playing human beings in the world. But he does kind of seem like he's a man on a mission to be the NFL's lock-dead number one wide receiver in the world. I mean, that was his goal that he set right away, and he is just annihilating people in practice. And then, you know, Christian Darrisaw, their left tackle, has been kind of interesting to me. There was a clip that circulated of him being beaten by Nick Bosa in a practice rep. And, I mean, he really battled Nick Bosa, though, play after play after play when they had their joint practices, and I was impressed. I mean, I think that he's got a chance to take a step forward. And so in that way, we've been talking about the offensive line for I don't know how long. How many radio appearances have I made where you've asked about left or right guard? This might be the year where we actually don't do that every single week, Nate. So I think that I've been really impressed with him, and we'll see kind of on some of the other positions. But if they get a great performance out of Christian Darrisaw, then they'll have two of the best tackles in the league, and that could be pretty relevant.
Okay, last one, Matthew Coller on Talking Vikings. Find him on Twitter at Matthew Coller, purpleinsider.com, his site. Do you believe Kevin O'Connell will make this team better?
I don't, because his quarterback is the same. And I think that it is what it is when it comes to Kirk Cousins. I mean, the ESPN put out their big piece where they analyzed every quarterback and all of their skills, right? And they ranked the top 10. Kirk Cousins got like 2 mentions. It's sort of like he's just a mid-pack quarterback who is very expensive and who's not going to change at age 34. That's my very cynical opinion. Do I think they're doing some things much smarter than Mike Zimmer? Absolutely. With their health, with the way that they're going to manage games as far as the clock and when to kick and when to punt, it's going to be way more scientific. But does that change the fundamental part of who they are? I think what you want to see is Kevin O'Connell get through this year and make his team halfway competitive and make a lot of smart decisions along the way, and knowing that you might still end up going 8-9 or 9-8.
By the way, you just mentioned some analytic stuff, you know, or some smart stuff. Are we going to see the Vikings, going for 2, being one of these teams like Staley and the Chargers going for 2, and then it backfires?
Man, I hope so. I mean, I don't know about the backfiring part.
All right.
Going for 2 is that one is much closer to 50-50. But the not punting and stuff, it would be a lot more fun. Look, I mean, the Minnesota Vikings have not played fun football in a long time, man. If they had any fun going for 4th downs, being exciting, throwing the ball down the field all the time, even if they don't win, at least give these poor fans some entertainment value.
All right, I got you. Matthew Coller, fresh and ready. Vikings-Broncos, a battle, so to speak, coming up, and regular football soon to be here. PurpleInsider.com for the work, his site. Matthew, always good, man. Thanks for the time.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Matthew Coller on tonight, PurpleInsider.com on the Nate Brown Show, PurpleInsider.com live from the Twin Cities. Matthew, you Vikings fans are listening. You're hopeful? And then Matthew said Kevin O'Connell's not going to make him that much better, the new head coach. He might make him a little better. By the way, I might have to turn this into a question of the day. I find this interesting, this analytics talk, how the Chargers went for 2 a lot, went for it on 4th down, and then went for 2 a lot. And I've always, played that by ear, like it didn't work out in some of these games, and it's a huge swing. When it doesn't work out, it's a huge swing, and you're chasing points and the whole thing. Zimmer went for 2 kind of at some bizarre times as well, like early on, and he always got hammered for it. Zimmer did. Oh, old school guy, but he's going for 2. What are you doing? And they chase points all the time. And so it's interesting. You have people that think about, would you go for 2 a lot? Would you go for 2 a lot? You're a football fan. You're watching your team, especially with this new extra point. It's not a gimme. I mean, they make them a lot, but it's not a gimme. It's so interesting to me, the dynamic. Would you just go for 2 quite a bit and try and get an edge that way? Or do you end up chasing points? The analytics would say, well, there's certain times you should go for 2, and even if you're down, you should go for 2 instead of, like, getting within a touchdown. Like, even getting within a touchdown on an extra point, they say, no, go for 2 because then you can win it with a touchdown. And then they don't get it, and then you're down by 2 scores. I mean, that's the type of stuff that makes me nuts. All right, real football this weekend. Huskers, Northwestern. It's game week. It's Husker game week. Gary Sharp is in Omaha. Covers the Huskers 1620 The Zone. Scott Frost, did he get into a little bit of trouble this past week? We'll discuss next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show, on FoxSportsRapidCity.com and live on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Get away from it all in the great outdoors for lasting family.
Have you been waiting for years to get new windows? The incredible Renewal by Andersen Dog Days of Summer sale is here. Summer ends soon, winter is on the way. Renewal by Andersen's Dog Days of Summer sale is amazing. 20% off every window and door. No money down, no interest, no payments for 2 whole years. This is the only time of the year when Renewal by Andersen offers 24 months same as cash. Visit RBA Rapid City now. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation. Don't wait, the deal ends August 31st. 2 years, no payments. That's nothing to growl about. RBARapidCity.com.
Looking for the best place to have a cold one? The best selection by far is at Pour 54 downtown. 54 taps of beer from local and regional breweries, a great sports area upstairs, and they're bringing in live music with their summer concert series. Pour 54 has something for everybody, and the food is outstanding. Enjoy summer in the Black Hills and take your crew to Pour 54 downtown Main Street.
From the kennel to the coop, whatever the season, Fleet Farm has everything to keep your animals happy and healthy. From training your pup to sit season, to mastering those retrieval skills season. From clipping your horse for competition season, to keeping the backyard birds well-fed season. And of course, loving your pets like family season. There's a reason people say, if Fleet Farm doesn't have it, you don't need it. Because we have it all. Fleet Farm, built for real life.
Hanging with Brian from Anytime Auto Sales. What's this? You got another new product for your arsenal?
You know it, and we're proud to feature the Bushwhackers and the Bushwhacker Plus campers from Braxton Creek. Bang for the buck, there's nothing out there like these new Bushwhacker teardrops.
You just got to see these Bushwhacker teardrops. Got so many options for their size, it's just unreal.
They are so cool, with kitchens, coolers, refrigerators, built-in furnace and air conditioning systems, even a shower and a toilet.
Got to be kidding, it's unbelievable.
Totally self-contained off-road suspension campers that come with new floor plans and in 3 different sizes. Ready for boondocking or a campground, and they're even solar ready too.
You just got to check them out, these Bushwhacker teardrops.
These are so perfect for where we live. It's time for all adventure junkies to head for the hills and do it in affordable comfort.
Now at Anytime Auto Sales. They're like nothing you've ever seen before. See anytime.com, and as always at the corner of Highway 79 in East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
Hey, it's Chris Broussard. Remember to catch the Odd Couple weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, let's get back to Rapid City Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
Oh, welcome back in on a Monday. Glad you're here. Always appreciate that. Your sports, your show, the Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Rapid City. Glad to be back on a Monday. Michael McCleary's coming up from Sioux Falls tonight, Argus Leader high school sports writer. Interesting story in the Argus Leader today. South Dakota High School Activities Association looking at changing their language to allow high school athletes in this state to do name, image, and likeness sponsorships. Okay? Will they get that done? They're looking at it. We'll talk to Mike McCleary about it. I turned it into my question of the day. Would you let your son or daughter, you got a high school athlete, okay? Would you let them sign a name, image, and likeness sponsorship? Maybe, a few $100? Huh? You got to be a great athlete to get that cabbage, man. Would you let your high school athlete do that in South Dakota? 76% of you say yes. Let's go to Gary Sharp. He's in Nebraska. It's game week, man. It is game week. Husker football. Huskers Northwestern. Across the pond, 1620 The Zone, Omaha, covering the Huskers, and Gary Sharp's on tonight. Gary, thanks for coming on. How are you?
Nate, top of the afternoon to you.
Appreciate your time. Let me ask you really quick. Nebraska. What about high school name, image, and likeness sponsorships? Is Nebraska doing it? Will they do it? What's the atmosphere?
They are allowing it. For example, there's a 4- or 5-star wide receiver named Malik Coleman from Lincoln East High School that, by the way, will announce his decision in October. He has gone all in on name, image, likeness, but he's turned it into kind of benefiting the community that he lives in with some of the stuff that he is doing. He has a burrito at a popular Mexican restaurant in downtown Lincoln that is named after him, and so part of the proceeds go back to him, and part of the proceeds go to a little charitable thing that he has set up as a high school senior.
Okay, so I like that. A lot of our listeners were like, hey, if high school kids can make some money, I would make them put it towards a college fund, and that's what some of my listeners said. Does it have a good reaction down there? Because a lot of times NIL's been so negative in certain ways.
Yeah, you know what? It has been a really good reaction because he's turned it into something positive. And there's a couple of other athletes, more female athletes. Volleyball is so big in the state. Some really high-level volleyball players that have some similar, smaller details. But most of them are also turning it into, giving back to the community, which at that age, that's a great start. But it's interesting with the young man from Lincoln East named Malik Coleman, is people think, okay, he's building his brand, he's got name, image, likeness. Does that mean he's going to stay home? Because that brand and more money for name, image, likeness can grow if you're a Lincoln East product that you go and you play at Nebraska. And a lot of people think they don't go and play at Nebraska, but it's been an interesting navigation for about 6 months around here when it comes to high school athletes. But by no means are there like a plethora of kids that have deals.
Okay, let me switch this. What's your assessment of a kid like Malik, great player, right there in Lincoln? What's your assessment of what goes into deciding, I'm going to stay and play for Nebraska? What can the Huskers do?
Well, one, it would help not only with him but others if they win. And that's kind of the Captain Obvious moment of the day. But the relationships are bigger. And, we follow recruiting really heavily. And Nebraska's had a good turnaround. That's why this year is so important, that if they can lay the groundwork, they've got a nice recruiting class coming in 23, and they've got some really good recruiters now on their staff, led by Mickey Joseph, leading the recruitment of Malik Coleman. His thing is relationships. Am I building relationships? Do I feel comfortable? Could I see myself, when I'm not playing football, being comfortable at a school like Nebraska or Michigan or Oklahoma or Oregon or all these other big-name schools that are recruiting him? But if Nebraska gets off to a good start, I think that just solidifies that he's coming to Lincoln. But I think because of his relationships that he has built up, and he spent a lot of time in Lincoln working out with current players, showing up at camps, I think he'll come to Nebraska. But relationships almost are right up there with winning as well in today's recruitment of high-level athletes.
Okay, here it is. Nebraska has a 78.7% chance of winning this weekend. 78.7% chance when you break it down. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yes. Northwestern, I think getting that's the Nebraska response after we've gone through the off season like we have around here, and whatever's going to happen in year number 5 is Northwestern getting Northwestern on August 27th is better than getting Northwestern on October 4th. And you Northwestern play that first or second weekend in October. I think Northwestern will be better than they were last year, but I don't think they're all of a sudden going to go from how poor they were last year to winning the West. But I think they'll be better, but I just don't know how good they'll be right out of the gate. So the spread has bounced anywhere from 10.5 to, I noticed today it's up to 13. The total has gone down to 49.5. And I've been saying you just got to find a way to win by 1 point, because if you don't, then that's not going to be good. That will derail a lot of things, and it'll just be miserable around here. And I don't know if this program as a whole can respond to a loss again on week 0. But I think Nebraska clearly has an advantage. They are a better football team, but there is this game, Nate, and I've said this for weeks now. Nebraska is the most interesting team in college football because you have no idea what's going to happen. We could all say, yeah, the spread says Nebraska should rule Northwestern again. But no one is as secure to go, yep, that's going to happen. I say just win by a point. But I do think Nebraska is a favorite for a reason in this game, and a favorite in the computers with 78% saying, yes, they will win.
Nebraska Northwestern this weekend, kicking off the college football season in the Big Ten Week 0. Gary Sharp's on, covering at 1620. The Zone in Omaha has a morning show there. Let me ask you, Scott Frost, I guess, got in a little bit of trouble and then had to address this yesterday. You know, he was talking about how hard the offensive line's working, and guys are working hard, man, and we're putting in a lot of work. Offensive linemen are puking 15 to 20 times, at practice, 15 to 20 times. And then yesterday he said, I exaggerated that. Well, what are we talking about?
Well, I knew right away that when he said that, he had stepped on his foot again, and he would have to walk that back at some point. Now, he was clearly joking and exaggerating, but you also have to read the room when you make a comment like that, considering today's athletes and the concern about health and stuff. I think why he walked it back yesterday, and by the way, I don't think when he made that comment, he was talking to us as fans or media. I think he was talking to guys that weren't in shape for camp. Maybe some coaches, maybe his strength and conditioning coordinator. We don't know. But the fact that he had to walk it back yesterday tells you that somebody was not happy. Somebody was not happy, and when they heard that, they got at him, and so he walked it back. And that may be his trainer, who that does not look good on your trainer if your head coach is saying that, even jokingly, or even his strength and conditioning coach. But that's been the issue is, Scott can have a couple of good days where you got a good feel for the program, and then you say something in jest or not, and all of a sudden, when you are 15-29, Nate, you and I have talked a lot about this, people will run with everything that Scott says. The way he can control the narrative, for the most part, is by winning football games. And starting Saturday, when there's going to be a lot of eyeballs at 11:30 Central watching you play, that you come out and you look crisp and you don't look choppy, and most importantly, you get a victory.
Yeah, that's a biggie. It is a biggie. It feels really, really big. Huskers Northwestern Saturday morning. Gary Sharp in tonight. Gary, do we actually, we have to think that players puke at practice. Are we so crazy that we don't think that?
No, it happens. And, if he would have said that, I don't know, the first week of practice, I would have been, okay, that's happening. And again, he exaggerated a little bit. And then you've got the old heads that chime in around here that, oh, yeah, we had garbage cans next to the field, and we did it all the time. Yeah. And it happens. It happens. But
it does.
Again, it's what you think about the messenger telling you. That's basically what the tone around here is if you don't like Scott, you're going to take everything he says, and you're going to be waiting to just pounce on him.
Yeah.
If you like Scott, you're like, okay, yeah, he was just joking. Go get him a PBR. It's the tussle that's going on here in this fan base over the head coach, who is 15-29 and was supposed to save the program. But right now, part of the program has been a laughing stock. That's why, man, you could run through the whole gamut of emotions, Nate, of our callers, of what they're going through before kickoff on Saturday. Some are nervous. Some are very intrigued. Some are, they're feeling like there's going to be doom. Others are excited because they think that they finally have uncorked some things that are going to get this turned around because they've taken the power away from Scott on game days. It's a wild roller coaster of emotions around here, And that's why I keep going back. You can say must win. You can use whatever phrase you want. Nebraska has to find a way to win the football game on Saturday, because if they don't, I just don't see how they get things going in the right direction with the feel of football around here and the feel of doom to continue on in the season, even though that's game 1 of 12.
What a time in Nebraska. Week 0. It's here. Huskers and Northwestern. Intensity. By the way, a major announcement on the Nate Brown Show with Gary Sharp while I have you, okay? I had, for the first time yesterday, a Runza sandwich. For the first time. I stopped in. It's a brand new in Alliance, Nebraska. And I have to tell you, very unique. I might get one some other time. Not going to rush back. Very unique.
So did you go with the original Runza? Did you go cheese Runza?
I went mushroom and cheese. Mushroom and Swiss Runza.
Okay. All right. It is very much an acquired taste. You're exactly right. But now, Nate, we can adopt you as a Nebraskan.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I had to get that in, Gary. I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Hey, thanks, guys. We'll see what happens on Saturday and look forward to talking down the road.
All right. I appreciate it. Good to have him on. Gary Sharp on. That's 1620 The Zone, Omaha Live. Gary Sharp talking Huskers. Find him on Twitter at Gary Sharp 1620. Wow. So I've got all this citizenship. I got Montana, my home state. I've been in South Dakota for, over 20 years, 22 years. And I went to Wyoming every other weekend to watch Mountain West football. So I'd watch Wyoming. So I got citizenship there. Now Nebraska, because I had a Runza sandwich yesterday. And I'd live to tell about. No, I'm kidding. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's what I say. It's okay. Didn't hurt anybody. Wanted to check it out. I heard it was a big Nebraska thing. And it gets me citizenship, Nebraska. Coming back with Michael McCleary. He's from Sioux Falls Argus Leader. He's got the story on South Dakota high school athletics and these athletes maybe getting name, image, and likeness sponsorship opportunities. Will South Dakota make the change? We'll talk to Mike McCleary next.
You're listening to the Nate Brown Show.
Have you been waiting for years to get new windows? The incredible Renewal by Anderson Dog Days of Summer sale is here. Summer ends soon. Winter is on the way. Renewal by Anderson's Dog Days of Summer sale is amazing. 20% off every window and door. No money down, no interest, no payments for 2 whole years. This is the only time of the year when Renewal by Anderson offers 24 months same as cash. Visit RBA Rapid City now. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation. Don't wait. The deal ends August 31st. 2 years, no payments. That's nothing to growl about. RBARapidCity.com.
Beat your gateway deal.
Are you ready for football season? The king of sportsbooks, BetMGM at Tin Lizzy, is ready for football. Tin Lizzy's BetMGM Sportsbook is the best sports betting experience in South Dakota. From college football to the NFL, make your bet, take in the game, as there's not a bad seat in the house. Your sports betting home for football is Tin Lizzy and BetMGM Sportsbook. Bet on your favorite team and the biggest games. Make your play at Tin Lizzy BetMGM Sportsbook, Main Street, Deadwood.
The cars, trucks, and SUVs you're looking for are at Denny Menho Rushmore Honda. Shop imports and domestics, many local one-owner trade-ins, plus the area's best selection of pre-owned Hondas and Hondas certified pre-owned. With qualified credit, buy with no money down, and get financing available as low as 1.99% APR. Great prices and low finance rates make now the best time to buy. See Denny Menho Rushmore Honda or RushmoreHonda.com. Finance rate available on select Honda certified pre-owned. Length of contract is limited.
We're all going somewhere. Going higher, faster, farther. Going in new directions, to new places. At Monument Health, we keep going so you can keep going. We're dedicated to advanced orthopedic care with the latest innovations, technology, expertise, and treatment. So keep exploring, keep making memories, keep going with Monument Health as your partner. Learn more at monument.health/orthopedics.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. Great to be in the Black Hills. Getting the herd weekdays 10 to 1 on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hey, welcome back in the Nate Brown Show. We're live, Fox Sports Rapid City on a Monday. Your sports, your show. Remember, if you can't catch us live, catch the podcast. It'll go up tonight. The Nate Brown Show podcast available where you download your favorite podcasts. Look us up. You've got us, the Nate Brown Show podcast. Also there at foxsportsrapidcity.com. Download it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. It's out there. Good stuff tonight. Jerry Brewer's on the way, national columnist for the Washington Post. He's been stopping by NFL training camps across the board. Big headlines in the NFL today. We'll get to Jerry Brewer, Washington Post, coming up. Let's see. We're talking Huskers, Northwestern this weekend. And I got a couple of things for you. I tried my first ever Runza sandwich yesterday, a Nebraska staple. Listener text. Hopefully you had a couple of beers with that sandwich yesterday. If you didn't, then you're stronger than me. I did not. I mean, this was a road trip. Okay? My wife had decided, she's like, hey, there's a Runza in Alliance here. And we did okay. We did okay last night. Enjoyed the Runza, and we'll go back sometime. Not going to rush back. We'll do it sometime. Mike McClary's on tonight. ArgusLeader.com, Sioux Falls, ArgusLeader.com. Interesting coverage from Michael as we get set for high school football and more of it as the big schools get started this week. Mike, good to get you on. How are you?
Hey, Nate. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I know you're ready to roll with high school football. I want to get into the story that you've been talking about lately with college and high school. And I started my show with it, Mike, where Argus Leader, you guys are reporting that the Activities Association could be looking here at the upcoming legislative cycle to potentially change language regarding name, image, and likeness for South Dakota high school athletes. Do you get the sense that they might make a change?
Well, I do want to specify that it is definitely in the very early stages.
Okay.
This is something that, Dan Sportos, the executive director of the Activities Association, has said that he would like to discuss, but at the time that we talked, he didn't even it wasn't brought up in a capacity where he would even be able to gauge the interest as far as the board of directors in terms of passing something like that. So it's definitely in the very, very early stages, but of course with some neighboring states changing their own language, Kansas, I believe being one of them, North Dakota is another, and also just sort of the national conversation around NIL and now how it affects college and high school sports. It's something that is obviously worth discussing and bringing up.
Okay, it's interesting. So I've done 2 polls on my show, Mike, name, image, and likeness for high school. Months ago, I said, what if, should South Dakota, just in general, look at bringing in name, image, and likeness? 60% said no into high school in South Dakota. That was months ago. Okay, 60% said no. Today, I said, what if your son or daughter had this opportunity? Made it personal. What if your son or daughter had this opportunity in South Dakota? Would you let them sign a deal? 74% say yes. So I wonder what you think. What's the general sentiment out there with name, image, and likeness if it was in South Dakota high school sports?
Well, I think it's interesting because, that was a great way to phrase those 2 questions, obviously. But, these deals, I feel like just as NIL just becomes a little bit more normalized, people are getting a little bit more knowledge about how these deals work. And, I saw Matt actually tweeted out an article, I believe it was a column from the National Federation of High Schools talking about, NIL and how, players shouldn't be able to profit off of their jersey. Now, that's something that exists at the college level, too. When I talked to people at USD and, Matt Zimmer talked to people at SCSU, that's policy that they're not allowed to use university logo or university jersey in their, NIL deals and stuff like that. So it's not as if the National Federation of High Schools is changing tune with all these different states sort of creating their own language. That's sort of just always how it existed. And, pay for play and the integrity of the game where, potentially NIL deals can be, linked to athletic performance. None of that is legal at any level. So, I see a lot of people, getting a little bit nervous about, what this could impact, I guess, the grand scheme of high school sports in the state. But I feel like it might be a little bit too premature at this point just to think about that because, of course, that's one of the things that they want to discuss to make sure that doesn't happen. and we're not even to the point of a proposal yet. So, I think at this point it's just sort of an idea, and, you just got to, I guess, trust that the Activities Association is going to go in the right direction.
Yeah, that's the thing. I said, there's two camps, I feel like, on this, Mike, in name, image, and likeness. One camp totally against it. Don't want it in college, don't want it in high school. It should be old school. Then there's another camp said, no, it should be wide open. There's no concern at all. Oh, no, we won't have any problems. And I think we meet in the middle somewhere. You got to be careful with the recruiting enticements and stuff like that. Even in high school, by the way. I don't put it past anything. I look at this, though, and I say, you also touched on colleges here. USD, SDSU. You guys wrote about this. There's been some deals, right? Quite a few. Yeah. Not massive, but quite a few.
Yeah. And I think the interesting point of this is, one of the things I guess I was not concerned about, but something that I thought that I should be prepared for was, people see this high school reporting and they're like, who cares? High school kids, how possibly big could these deals be? They're just high school kids. They're, for the most part, they don't have, national recognition, if not even statewide recognition. But, I think a lot of the USD and SDSU players, like when this first became a thing at the college level, they were thinking the same thing. Like we quoted a player saying, thanks for these meetings, but, it's not like I'm going to be on the Madden cover. But then, July 1st, 2021 came along and all these deals started happening. And I think people have actually been shocked with how prevalent it's been. And at the mid-major level like USD, it's all sort of just product deals, and you don't get these big collectives and stuff that maybe cause a little bit more confusion at the higher levels. But it's I'm curious to see if a similar thing exists in high school sports, where maybe until something's passed, we wouldn't think that it would be such a big market. But then the rule comes about, and some of these high school kids actually have stuff.
Mike McCleary on tonight, talking high school sports, potential name, image, and likeness. We'll see where this goes if they discuss it here coming up with the Activities Association, ArgusLeader.com. By the way, what is SDSU and USD, the administration, the school, the athletic department? It has to feel kind of a tough environment. Their compliance offices are trying to deal with it. Do they have it under control, or is it kind of every which way?
Yeah, it seems like they do. Obviously, this is such a drastically changing thing. So, so many things change so fast with this landscape, especially, the collectives is something I mentioned earlier. That's not something that a lot of these schools really expected, especially, the impact at the mid-major level with, potential, you bring up recruiting and stuff like that. That's something that, they obviously have to keep an eye on. But right now, they seem to have a handle on the thing that they find the most important, and that's the compliance aspect. So when players come to them with deals, they know what is compliant and what will help them maintain their eligibility and what, might threaten their eligibility. So they have a pretty good handle on that, and that's obviously the thing that they're most worried about, because you want to make sure that the players that are in your program are safe. So I believe that for the most part, that's been the thing that they've been, really, really focused on, and they have a pretty good handle on that.
Name, image, and likeness sponsorships have taken off at USD and SDSU. Will they get going in high school? My sense is if the Activities Association does this, if they allow it, I believe somebody will do a high school deal sooner than later. It might not be massive, but I always believe the human nature. Some business person knows this person, and I think it's going to happen. We'll stay tuned if South Dakota does it. Good reporting on it. ArgusLeader.com. High school sports writer Mike McCleary on tonight. Always good, man. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thanks so much, Nate.
Appreciate it. Michael McCleary. Find him on Twitter at Mike J. McCleary. Mike J. McCleary. Follow him there. ArgusLeader.com. Covers USD as well, and the high school sports beat, Argus Leader Sioux Falls. Yeah, I've said that if the Activities Association does move forward and they change the language and allow it, somebody will do a deal with a high school athlete here. Somebody will do a deal. I don't know if it's $500, whatever it is. And then what is the reaction to that? Some people will react negatively. I'm not one of them. And it seems like quite a few of you on the text line and stuff say, hey, I think some of this is okay. It's not like it's, going to ruin the sport. You got to be careful with how far you take things. But If a high school kid, has a sponsorship deal with Pizza Ranch, and then it's just like working with Pizza Ranch. Is that how we should see it? I think for the most part, yeah. I think for the most part, I joked in the first hour. I said I actually had to work fast food. When I was 15, I didn't get a sponsorship deal. I probably would have taken the sponsorship deal if I could have. My question of the day for you, if you're just tuning in, the Nate Brown Show, Fox Sports Rapid City. Question of the day: if South Dakota changes it, like Nebraska, like Minnesota, like North Dakota's doing, if we change it, allow high school name, image, and likeness sponsorships for high school students with companies, would you let your son or daughter do it? Would you let your son or daughter do it? I made it personal, and boy, it's interesting. 74%, the latest check on the poll, 74% say if my son or daughter could do name, image, and likeness in high school, I'd have no problem with it. 74%, 26% say no, I would not want them to do it. So what are you going to tell them? You have a great athlete. Hey, so-and-so is going to give me $1,000 I can put towards whatever. No, we can't do that. We can't do that. I don't think you're going to tell them that. We'll see if South Dakota makes the change. We'll see. It might be down the road here. Let's take a quick call on it as we get into the drive at 5. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hi, Nate. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
I want to go back to your previous caller. I think we'll see this year what kind of competitor Scott Frost is. If he's anything like his playing days, he'll have a really good season. But he knows for the first time in his career that he's coaching for his job this year.
Yeah.
Unlike anywhere else he's been, he obviously wasn't at Central Florida, and he was the offensive coordinator prior to that. So he agreed to a pay cut of $1 million this year.
Well, this is it. You're right on that. By the way, if they lose Saturday, you're in Nebraska. I mean, you are Nebraska through and through. You've been with me for a few years here. If they lose, what are you going to do? Just one game. It's just one game.
Well, that's why I call it. This game is critical if they want to get off on the right foot. If they lose this game, it's going to be a tough season. If they win this game, I think if they win by the spread or 14 points or so, we got a couple winnable games after this before Oklahoma, which is a home game again. I think that's a winnable game with all the changes that have happened at Oklahoma, all the players they've lost. That's a winnable game. If they don't win this game Saturday, then I think there's no way they win the game against Oklahoma. I think if they win Saturday,
and then you start going down this road because their schedule early on is pretty easy. Outside of Oklahoma, their schedule early on is pretty easy. I just had a listener text in. He said, if they don't win Saturday, is Scott Frost around week 2? Oh, come on, guys, don't go crazy.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay,
but
all right.
I would. If he doesn't win 7 games, I'll be disappointed. I'd be very happy if he wins 8 games. 8-4 will be a really good turnaround for me. But I can tell you right now,
expectations now. Got 3-9 to 8-4. My goodness.
Well, they got an easier schedule this year than they've had in a couple of years, and I will tell you, my daughter tells me that tickets are going for regular price for football. Women's volleyball, it's $85 standing room.
Wow.
And $200 for a seat.
Okay.
In the Devaney Center.
Wow.
And
so you telling me that's why I got a ticket to the Oklahoma football game? So the first time, that's why I got the ticket?
No, I'm just telling her there's not a waiting list for season tickets anymore.
Oh, all right.
And you can buy packages of 2 or 3 games, which
just wait
been
until
able to do the last couple of years.
Just wait until that 8-4 season that you're going to get. Then it's going to get dicey. The ticket list.
I will predict if he doesn't win 7 games, I don't think he keeps his job.
Oh, okay.
That's my opinion.
All right. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks for getting in, man. Good stuff. Yeah. So, hey, Nebraska, I'm interested in Saturday. I mean, I'm tuned in 10:30. I'm ready. Big time. Please win that game. Please, for the love of God, please win that game. I got an opportunity to go to Oklahoma, Nebraska, September 18th. And are you trying to tell me I'm going to go into that mess after losing to Northwestern in the opener? And then you know, what are we going to be doing at the tailgate? Eating Runza? Come on. All right, let's go. I've got a question for you. I've got another one. Should this play be outlawed in football? I want to have a serious debate with you, okay? Jerry Brewer's coming up, Washington Post. We'll ask him about it, too, on the way. National NFL columnist. But I want to know if you think this play should be illegal in football. Next.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City.
At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we want your banking experience to be easy and convenient, no matter where you are. Travel with ease this summer using our co-op network of over 7,000 shared branches and 60,000 surcharge-free ATMs. You may find there's even an option closer to home. Learn more at bhfcu.com or call 605-718-1818 to set up access. BHFCU is a member-owned, not-for-profit.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear. Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Physical therapy, athletic training, and sports science all at one place. Physio in Rapid City. Dr. Dan Jensen and his team at Physio are ready to help you perform at your best. From the youth athlete to the active adult, trust the team at Physio. Physio offers the skilled, personalized approach to physical therapy and athletic training, building the best athletes in the Black Hills as the official strength and conditioning provider for Stevens, Central, and the Rapid City Rush. Learn more at bhphysio.com.
Hey, Rapid City, it's Doug Gottlieb. Join me weekdays from 1 to 4 right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City. And now let's get you back to the Nate Brown Show, Rapid City's Sports Talk Show.
Hey, welcome back in. The Drive at 5 on a Monday. The Nate Brown Show back live. Fox Sports Rapid City. You know the Drive at 5 presented by Summit Automotive Group. Get to Summit, take a look. I'll tell you, the selection's really, really good. They put a great selection together right now. SummitAutoGRP.com. You can look at the inventory there. Stop by. No high-pressure sales stuff when you stop by. If you're on the lot, let's go get them. That's not what's happened with Stacy and Matt at Summit. The Summit difference. Car buying built around you. Find out how. The Summit difference. SummitAutoGRP.com. Start there. Jerry Brewer's coming up. National columnist, Washington Post. A lot of headlines we'll get into in the NFL with Jerry. One of our favorites. He's on tap. Speaking of the NFL, let's go to this. Over the weekend, we had an injury. Okay, it happens. Preseason football, guys are get hurt, the whole thing. This one's catching everybody's attention. Everybody's having a debate about it, and I want to know if it's a real debate. I want to know if there's a real debate about this, or if this is people just going crazy and hot take galore. Okay, Kayvon Thibodeau, #1 draft pick for the Giants out of Oregon. Okay, outside rusher, edge, linebacker. Okay, he comes off the edge. He gets chop blocked. When I say chop blocked, blocked below the waist, not double engaged or anything. It's a standard block. A tight end chipping back, taking him one-on-one, and he chop blocks him. But he hits his knee big time. The tight end goes for the knees, and now Thibodeau's out. I think they said 3 to 4 weeks here. Is that last time I checked this afternoon? So I'm watching the play, and then I see everybody go crazy today that the debate is, this is Bush League. This is unacceptable. This is unbelievable. Cowardly, it was called. Cowardly. Unacceptable. Unbelievable. Guy should be kicked out. It's like, okay, hang on. Have we not had chop blocks in the NFL, in football? For how long? You watch football, we have chop blocks. I'm going to say in high school, what has been the rule? When I was playing, you could chop block within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. Okay? You can't chop block on the edge. And you can't do that in college either. You can't chop block on a change of possession. Where we get an interception. Now here's the DBs and they chop block guys. You can't do that. So they've made tweaks to this. They're eliminating more of the chop blocks than, you just can't block somebody below the waist anytime, anywhere. This was at the line of scrimmage over the weekend with the Giants and Bengals. And Thibodeau, bad play, by the way, it looked like to me, by the way, as he approached the tight end. He's like, he was dancing with him. It was interesting. And then the tight end went for the knees. Boom. And now there's an injury. And so I'll just ask you about that. I want to ask you, should chop blocks, and I'm not talking about somebody getting blocked high and blocked low at the same time. That's illegal, okay? Getting chop blocks out on the edge, that's illegal in a lot of levels of football, right? They've trimmed this back in college. They really trim it back in high school. NFL has trimmed it back as well, in that line of scrimmage tight end box area. But I'm going to ask you, because now you got a knee injury and people are just going berserk here. This is a bad play. And I understand some of this is, hey, we're trying to protect players, yet we don't protect them from some of the worst plays, meaning lower leg injuries. Wide receivers get upended in the lower leg. You can't hit them up top with a helmet or anything, which, okay, I understand. Then you go for the knees and wide receivers are getting their ACLs blown away. Or whatever it may be. So some of this stuff, I understand, sometimes doesn't make sense, but I don't think we've hit that wall to where now we watch a basic play. It's a basic block. Tight end cracking back across the line of scrimmage, at the line of scrimmage, chop block. The defender is staring at the tight end in the face. He's staring at him in the face. He's not getting blindsided. It's not it didn't look like a cheap play, didn't look like a dirty play, it looked like a standard chop block. And we're having people go crazy over it. Should chop blocks be totally illegal in football? I asked that question of the day. You can let me know. I want to know where you stand on it. Should chop blocks just be totally illegal and just block normal? Hey, if you're going to take somebody on man-to-man, mano-on-mano, block normal, end of story, we got to get the lower leg stuff out of the game. That's what I want to know. People have, went crazy about saying this was a dirty play by this Bengals player. Not me. And I was looking at it. It's like, this is a basic play I've seen hundreds of times. But maybe it's just the fact, are we not wanting this play in the game? That's what I ask you today. Should chop blocks be totally illegal in football? Here's the answers so far in the Nate Brown Show question. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. 78% responding. I want to make sure I double check this. 78% say yes, avoid these injuries. Why? I know we want to avoid injuries, but I don't think we can avoid every injury. So now we can't have any chop blocks. So tight ends are just supposed to take on defensive tackles, edge rushers, which is tight ends, whoever. Wide receivers coming back to the line of scrimmage say, no chop block, right? No chop block from a running back. So a running back's just supposed to stay in there on a blitzing middle linebacker and just get blasted. No chop block. Is that what we're saying here? A running back, you step up, fill the gap, and just take on a middle linebacker. No, I don't think. We can't do this. 78% say yes, avoid these injuries. 22% no, keep the chop blocks, just limit them. That's where I'm at. It's not the first time. I'm with the 22% of the Twitter audience. Twitter seems sometimes angry. That angry mob gets me on Twitter. That angry mob gets me every time on Twitter. I'm with the 22%. Keep chop blocks, but limit them. Limit them. You can have chop blocks in football. It's a standard play. And now a guy gets injured. I understand. It wasn't a great play by him, by the way, how he took on the block. I don't think it was the dirty play to take out Kayvon Thibodeau, the rookie for the Giants. Interesting stuff. 720-1067. Let me know what you think. Chop blocks in football. Okay with you? Let me know. Jerry Brewer's in next from the Washington Post.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show. Follow us and watch the show live on Twitter at Nate Brown Show.
Have you been waiting for years to get new windows? The incredible Renewal by Andersen Dog Days of Summer sale is here. Summer ends soon. Winter is on the way. Renewal by Andersen's Dog Days of Summer sale is amazing. 20% off every window and door. No money down, no interest, no payments for 2 whole years. This is the only time of the year when Renewal by Andersen offers 24 months same as cash. Visit RBA Rapid City now. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation. Don't wait. The deal ends August 31st. 2 years, no payments. That's nothing to growl about. RBARapidCity.com.
Hey sports fans, it's Rob from the Firehouse Skybox. We are your headquarters for football this season. You want college football on Saturdays? Well, we have it. Join us for some great specials and don't miss the games you want. From the Huskers to SDSU to USD, we have them all. And I know you want the NFL, so come down for $1 wing specials on Monday and Thursday nights. Then for the weekend, we'll have a great brunch buffet at the Skybox on Saturday and Sunday with $4 Bloody Marys every Sunday. The Skybox is Rapid City's football headquarters. See you on game days at the Skybox above the Firehouse in downtown Rapid City.
Insurance. We all need it to protect our homes, health, businesses, and belongings. But having adequate coverage is just the beginning. You also need the support of professionals who stand by your side to protect what's important to you. Fisher Rounds & Associates combines the coverage you want with the commitment you need. Fisher Rounds & Associates. At your service, at your side. With offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Watertown, Sioux Falls, and Rapid City.
Do you love watching high school sports but find yourself wanting to be more involved? Live Ticket TV has the solution for you. They're looking for production managers to assist for this school year. Duties include the management of equipment as well as basic technological understanding. But don't stress, paid training will be provided. Part-time wages start at $20 per hour. Call 833-605-LIVE extension 2. That's 833-605-5483 extension 2. And punch your ticket to joining one of the fastest growing companies in South Dakota.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
And welcome back in the Drive at 5 on the Nate Brown Show this Monday, brought to you by Summit Automotive Group, summitautogrp.com for your next pre-owned vehicle search. Start there before you buy, summitautogrp.com. Take a look. All right, question of the day. Should chop blocks be illegal in football? I mean, so essentially outlawed is what I'm saying. They've limited it in college and in the NFL. They've really trimmed down on that. It used to be a free-for-all. I could chop block you anywhere, anytime. They've limited crackbacks, that whole thing. But now we have an injury in a preseason game of the weekend. Kayvon Thibodeau, high-powered rookie for the Giants, gets chopped yesterday in a standard play I've watched a lot, I think. Chop block from a tight end. And now everybody's going crazy about it. So I thought, do we just want to eliminate chop blocks is the question of the day. Listener text 720-1067 on the Barron's-Wilson text line says, keep chop blocks, just make them limited to the line of scrimmage. Okay. Listener text, one more before we bring in Jerry Brewer. Maybe we should look at the cleats. Maybe they dig too deep into the turf. There's no movement for the leg. Yeah, I don't know. People argue about that turf stuff. I mean, people argue about the turf, where injuries and ACLs and all that stuff. I don't think you should outlaw chop blocks, meaning not guy blocking up top and a guy blocking down low. I'm talking block below the waist. I think that's still a play that can be had in a limited capacity. Let's bring in Jerry Brewer, national columnist, WashingtonPost.com. Find him on Twitter at Jerry Brewer. Thanks for joining us tonight. Jerry, how are you?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Let me ask you my question of the day, Jerry. I put you on the spot. I don't know if you saw this play. You know, people are really throwing it around a lot. Kayvon Thibodeau, Bengals game yesterday. Bengals tight end chops him. He's out. MCL sprain, 3 to 4 weeks. What about my question? Chop blocks in football. Outlaw them or not?
Well, it depends on how low, right? I mean, I think that on some level you have to be able to block a guy low in that way. But it's like if it's beneath the thigh, that's an illegal block. And I think that the penalty for that probably should be even more severe to get it out of the game. I mean, it's really disappointing what happened to Kayvon, and now you're talking about a guy who's going to miss the first couple of weeks of the season most likely, and just a high-powered, extremely athletic weapon that I was looking to see, even though I have to watch the Giants to see him.
I got you on that. So I guess my question is, hey, I'm a running back. Here comes a blitzing edge rusher, a middle linebacker. I can't chop him? I think I got to be able to chop him.
Well, I mean, I think, once again, like you hit him there kind of like right in the lower part of the thigh there and knock him off. And I think that's still, in almost all cases, perfectly legal. Just going like super low, I just don't think you can. I think there has to be a fairness in terms of quarterback, right? And in a lot of cases, pass rusher. Quarterback can't get hit at his knees. Right. Why should a pass rusher's knees be in jeopardy?
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's why I have him on. Jerry Brewer on tonight talking football. Question of the day first. So let's go to this. I want to get your perspective on Lamar Jackson. The reporting out there saying, okay, he wants a guaranteed contract that's more than Kyler Murray's getting. You know, right in that realm, but all guaranteed. I don't know how it's going to shake out. What do you think when you hear that when it comes to Lamar Jackson?
Well, you know why Steve Biscotti threw such a fit when the Haslam family made that deal for Deshaun, because you're looking at someone in Lamar. You look at him. Is Deshaun a better thrower than Lamar Jackson? Yes. Does Deshaun have an MVP? No. Has Deshaun led a team that was 14-2 that entered the playoffs, even though they lost in that opening game that they played? They were a Super Bowl favorite. Has Deshaun ever done that? No. Is Lamar Jackson? Did he have more than 24 cases of sexual harassment and misconduct that he had to settle? No. So when you look at it and you put them side by side, and in an NFL in which the next guy at that level, when it's time for him to re-up, he kind of resets the market. If you're Lamar, you're looking at it and you're saying, that's my comp, and I want to get a little bit more than Deshaun Watson did. And the Ravens are looking at it, as I think I absolutely would if I were ownership, and saying that contract was like the most idiotic deal any team in NFL history has ever done.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we look at something that's a little more in the realm of reason? Like, why can't we like bump you a little more than Josh Allen, or sort of get you in that range, right? Because you're more of a comp to him. We're not going to get you to Patrick Mahomes level. Nobody is going to get that. But this one sounds like a really good, fair deal, and that's the hard part. Like this is why every owner in the NFL hated it when the Cleveland Browns did that in order to gain the advantage, because Deshaun had no desire to be in Cleveland until they plopped down a ridiculous amount of money, and it's probably going to cost the Ravens the opportunity to get him signed before the year starts. And then for his sake, I hope he doesn't get hurt, right? I mean, we know the kind of style of football that he plays and how much his speed and athleticism mean to him. I hope he can get through the year healthy, I hope he has a good year and they just get back to the drawing board. But it really does seem like this Watson contract is going to keep them from getting a deal done before week 1.
Okay, how about that style of play, Jerry? Just looking at it from the Ravens' perspective, how much does his style of play matter when, hey, we're going to go fully guaranteed, and then you run? That's your game, man. You could get hurt. We're in big trouble.
I think there's a little bit of a yes and no to that because I'd done a study on quarterbacks who you would consider great runners: Steve Young, Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, even Michael Vick. And I know he's an outlier a bit because he went to jail and came back. You can even include a guy like Russell Wilson, especially early in his career, had a lot of scrambling yards, so on and so forth. And even throw in the guys who flamed out a little bit earlier. I think by and large, quarterbacks who run still are very effective into their 30s. They might not be able to play as long as Tom Brady or Drew Brees, but those guys are way out there for any quarterback. But the point that I'm making is that I don't look at it and say that if you sign Lamar Jackson to a 5-year deal that you're guaranteed to regret it after 3 years. I don't look at him and say, oh, you got to treat him like a running back and dock his pay or shorten his contract because he's going to flame out. You do have to consider that, and you do have to look at it in terms of that versus what his evolution as a passer has been and what you think the potential is for more growth, how well he studies the playbook, so on and so forth. But I just look at him as just one of the very best players in the league, a dynamic weapon. He's unconventional, but I think that if I could come to a deal that wasn't $230 million fully guaranteed or $250 or whatever he wants, if I could come into some range a little lower than that, let's say something that has $175 million in guarantees, I would do it in a second. And if something happened, hey, that's football. But I wouldn't look at it and say that it's guaranteed to happen just because he runs a lot.
Last one on Lamar Jackson with Jerry Brewer on tonight, WashingtonPost.com, national columnist. What about him representing himself, his mom, that whole thing? No agent, essentially. How do you think that plays out?
Oh, it plays out terribly. I mean, it's just, you can't have an honest conversation with a player when you're negotiating with them. It's much better to have those difficult conversations with an agent, especially when you're trying to tell a dude why you're not going to be willing to negotiate with him. I don't know if you saw the Captain documentary, which was not the greatest that I've ever seen, but it was interesting when they got into Jeter and Cashman and the fight that they had over salary. And just imagine if Cashman was directly negotiating with Jeter. Right. Jeter's feelings were hurt tremendously just through his agent. And that becomes the problem. I think there's consistent conversations that you would have over a long period of time when somebody's represented by an agent. And you just can't have that when you're representing yourself. And, yeah, I think that's made it incredibly difficult. These deals are hard to get done anyway. And we act like they should just get done tomorrow, right? But they're incredibly hard to get done, and it takes a lot of communication, and you just can't have that open line of communication when a guy is representing himself.
Jerry Brewer on tonight. Tom Brady comes back to training camp today, 11 days absent. The report is he went to the Bahamas on a family vacation. What do we think? Well, I mean, I think it's much ado about nothing if everything is good with his family. I mean, it's Tom Brady. He came in a pandemic year on a new team and won a Super Bowl. I think everything will be fine ultimately for the Bucs, but personally, you do wonder, what are all the things that are pulling at him there? What's the absolute truth there? Is it just Giselle really trying to pull to get him to do what she thought he was going to do before he unretired, which is just be the family man, be there more available every day?
Or is there something else going on with him? If there's not anything else that's going on with him and it's just that he needed to set things right before the season started, well, then everything will be fine for the Bucs. But if there's something more to the story, that's when you start to worry about that weighing on Tom Brady and that influence in his play. But I ultimately think the Bucs are about the safest bet to be 12-5 type of a team. I don't know that they're the best team in the NFC. I don't know if they're better than the Rams, and we'll see what the Packers are with all of these new wide receivers. But they're certainly, if not number one, just an overwhelming number two in my mind. And I don't think that's going to change. But there is some adjustment he's going to have. Not having the ideal slot receiver for a good chunk of the season, not having Gronk in the ideal tight end situation. But they've just got so much talent on that team, and they're so balanced on the defensive side of the ball in addition to offense that I think they'll be just fine.
Jerry Brewer on tonight, WashingtonPost.com. His work there, and find him on Twitter at Jerry Brewer. National columnist, always good to have him. Jerry, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it.
All right, anytime, man.
Appreciate your time. Jerry Brewer on tonight. Love talking football with him. WashingtonPost.com. National columnist. Find him on Twitter at Jerry Brewer. All right. I didn't even save the Tom Brady for my Who's Not. I didn't even save it. Tom Brady misses 11 days of training camp, and he went down to be with his family there in the Bahamas. I didn't even put it into my Who's Not. Aren't I nice? Aren't I just respectful? Come on. You know, here's how that plays out. Bucs fans don't care, okay? That's the thing, right? Bucs fans don't care. I mean, they're like, we just want to win, and he's going to win. He's got 7 Super Bowls. It's all fine, right? Tom Brady haters, which I'm not one of them. I used to be, but I've grown to respect Tommy. I even have a listener who doesn't like it. They say, man, you love Tom, baby. You love Tom. No, I grew to respect him, so I'm not a hater, but the haters are going to say, oh, I can't believe it. I'm kind of in the middle there. I don't love it, okay? 11 days, Bahamas, family vacation, pre-planned. I don't love it. Russell Wilson does it. I don't love it. Your boy Kirk Cousins does it. You guys hate it. Aaron Rodgers does it, and we send him off into retirement. I mean, Aaron Rodgers does this, and we think he's doing some, magical, organic, whatever it is, plant-based stuff, and we kick him out of here for good, right? But, Tom, we're okay. Thanks for calling. You're live today, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. What's up?
It sounds like you're a little twisted here.
Oh, like, I am? No, I'm right on. I'm right on. Where am I twisted?
Well, so, okay. What is preseason actually for? Tell me that.
I guess reps for young guys and to try and make a team, I think. I don't know.
Exactly. And, why does he need to be there for that?
Well, but the slippery slope now, right? It's like, we can all go on Bahamas. We can go to the Bahamas? Oh.
He's in his last year, maybe second to last year. He's the greatest of all time. I feel like any reasonable person is like, all right, this guy, he's always been an exception to the rule. He just is.
All right. You tip
when
people
you're
off with
talking
that,
about,
too, by the way.
Yeah, I don't care. He just is. I don't like it either, but he is. I wish he was on my team.
You would let him do that? You would let him do that?
For Tom Brady? Heck yeah, I would.
Oh.
You kidding me?
All right, buddy.
All right,
I got
have
you.
a good night, buddy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I don't love it. I'm not going to, put him in my Who's Not tonight. I mean, who's hot and who's not tonight. I didn't put him in my Who's Not. It was tempting, but I'll leave him out. I don't want to upset the Tom Brady fan base out here. All right. Lex Heathershaw's in next. Lex Heathershaw's the head football coach at Wall. They just won their opening game last week. Opening game, the Wall Eagles played Bennett County. Wall won 50-0. Somebody's saying Wall could make a big-time run this year. Let's talk to their head coach next.
This is the Nate Brown.
Have you been waiting for years to get new windows? The incredible Renewal by Anderson Dog Days of Summer sale is here. Summer ends soon, winter is on the way. Renewal by Anderson's Dog Days of Summer sale is amazing. 20% off every window and door. No money down, no interest, no payments for 2 whole years. This is the only time of the year when Renewal by Anderson offers 24 months same as cash. Visit RBA Rapid City now. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation. Don't wait. The deal ends August 31st. 2 years, no payments. That's nothing to growl about. RBARapidCity.com.
Never ends. Think Bigfoot is real? Maybe, but CD rates over 2%? Totally real. A CD rate that's hard to believe is yours right now at Highmark Credit Union. Earn up to 2.15% on a 22-month certificate with a bump-up feature or a 1.65% interest on a 4-month certificate. There's a $500 minimum investment with this limited-time offer. Select from a variety of CDs and put your money to work. Visit HighmarkFCU.com. Highmark Credit Union. We'll make it happen.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
From the minute you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, Black Hills Energy is here to support, inspire, and drive your next adventure. Because supporting your day-to-day is our everyday. And we are always here, ready for your next step. Black Hills Energy, ready.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hey, welcome back in the Nate Brown Show, your sports, your show. Remember, catch the podcast. It'll be up tonight. Good show tonight on a Monday on Fox Sports Rapid City. The Nate Brown Show podcast available when you can listen, right? So you don't have to listen to the whole show live. If you can't, I would love it. I appreciate you listening live, yes. We do this live show for your entertainment purposes only, but you can catch the Nate Brown Show podcast when you can listen. Download it where you find your podcasts. Lex Heathershaw tonight, Wall Eagles head football coach. I have a source that's saying Wall is going to make a big run this year. Okay? He's a high school football expert. You all know him. Well, that's what he says. And they started off with a 50-0 win over Bennett County. Coach Heathershaw joining us tonight. Coach, good to have you. How are you?
Yeah, doing great, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, I appreciate your time. So can I say this? I mean, can I break some news here? You know, you were telling me like your son's like in the mutton busting finals. I mean, that's big time. That's big time.
Yeah, we just got done. He got second. He was 87, and winner was 88. So we came in second and had a good time.
That's the highlight of my day today. I mean, when I was texting you, you said, "Hey, we'll do the interview, but we got mutton busting tonight." I said, "You know, you're talking to a South Dakota high school football coach when you've got mutton busting with his son." So, congrats to him. By the way, did you teach him? Did you do that back in the day?
Oh man, I don't even know if I remember. I think I did a few times for sure. And I rodeoed all through high school, and our families, my dad's family's all rodeo family. The Heathershaw name is kind of known throughout the state, and Heathershaws and Wilsons, and so yeah, no, just kind of rodeo family, kind of runs in the blood a little. So
I love it.
My son Owen enjoys the heck out of it, and he had fun and did a good job. So
okay,
it was a good day.
Is he going to be a football player too?
Yeah, you bet he is. Yeah,
okay.
No, he walks around all the time at home with his shoulder pads on, and he's got a little Eagles helmet, and he rocks and rolls, man. That's our Sunday. He looks forward to Sundays. He can't wait for football to be back. He's a big NFL fan, so that's kind of our Sunday, hang out on the couch and watch football with Dad.
Okay, I love that. I love a little insight. Lex Heathershaw tonight, Wall Eagles head football coach. Last one then. See, I got to know about this. Who's his favorite team, NFL?
We're Oakland Raiders fans, man. You know, there's not very many of us around here, but
oh my goodness,
yeah,
I'm a Broncos fan, Lex. I mean, I wanted you on the show tonight.
I don't even know if Owen would let me be on the radio with you.
Yeah, I know. We'll meet you here in a few weeks here. Okay, we'll look forward to it. By the way, let me ask you about your game. You win 50-0. I mean, you jumped out early. You have some great players. We had Cedar Amiot. We had him as our performer of the week. I think 5 touchdowns, a couple of defensive touchdowns. What did you think of the opening game?
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, we performed really well. I think when we got up 35-0, that was with our starters, and then it's always a good opportunity for our young guys to get in. One of the issues we have is we don't get a lot of JV games, so I like getting our younger guys in, and they got a ton of playing time, and it's always good to get those guys in. Our backup quarterback gets time just in case his number's called later on in the year for something, and so those types of guys had a lot of good experience in the game with Bennett County, but no, starters took care of business, and like you said, Cedar did a great job, 2 defensive touchdowns, but that's not with the help of others. I think he had a fumble recovery in the end zone for a touchdown, but that fumble recovery is caused by a teammate. I think Matthew Heathershot caused that one, and then he had an interception return for a touchdown as well, and that's put on by the defensive line's pressure. So definitely a good team win, and he had 3 rushing touchdowns, but again, offensive line plows the way, and somebody's got to give him the ball too. And so, no, it was a good team win. We still got a lot to button up. We saw some things that we need to fix offensively up front. We got a young offensive line, so hopefully they can keep improving throughout the year.
This program's been rolling, and you've done a great job with it. What do you feel like the expectations are this year? I've been looking at it saying, well, this could be a state run. Does that feel that way?
Yeah, I think it does. Our culture's there. I think in 5 years we're like 46-7 now or something like that. But that's all good to have a good record like that. But we've been stuck in that semifinal mode, and we've been to 3 semifinals in 5 years, and we're darn sure ready to break that wall down. And I know our seniors have an awful big chip on their shoulder from last year and that Howard loss, and felt like we were right there, right at the end. We were driving into score, and had an unfortunate turnover there right at the end of the game. But we were right there, championship type stuff last year, and Howard goes on to win big in the championship. So we felt like we were right on the verge, and our defense returns 8 of 9 starters. So I feel like we could do some good things this year, and year in and year out, I think our expectation is to make a deep run in the playoffs and hopefully give ourselves a chance to win championship.
Talking Wall Eagles football, they're rolling. 50-0 win last week in the opening game against Bennett County. The head coach is Lex Heathershaw. Strongest point of this team, you say, 8 of 9 defensively. What's something you think you need to work on? You're saying, offensive line, can they handle this season?
Yeah, I think that's probably our focus as far as, just can they adapt, can they adjust? We've moved some guys around. We lost 3 guys just to graduation from seniors last year on our offensive line. Lost a tight end, which in 9-man is, an extension of your offensive line. So we lost a tight end and 2 offensive guards. But we return a kid that wasn't out for a couple of years that comes back. He played a little for us as a freshman, so he's back with us. And then James Livermont returns. He's kind of a leader for us up front. And he's got a twin brother, Norman Livermont, who was a 2-time All-State defensive end. And so he'll play a little bit for us, too, on the offensive line. He didn't have to in years past because we were deep enough that we didn't need him to. But he'll be able to step in there a little bit, too. And Jet Moore has been working his tail off for a couple of years to get a spot. He's starting at center for us, so a lot of good pieces there. Thane Simons is stepping in for the tight end who graduated, and Blair Blasius returns on the offensive line as well. So there's some pieces there, some cornerstones that we still have from last year, but I think we just all got to pull it together. One thing we did, we've done this for the last couple of years, is we go down to my ranch and we go do a camp out with the whole team, and usually hopefully that can bring us together. And we had a good camp out this year, and the guys had fun, and everyone's kind of rolling, good chemistry. So hopefully we can just keep plowing through and take it game by game.
Off to a good start. We'll be keeping an eye on Wall. There's no doubt just out east, the Wall Eagles start 1-0, 50-0 win, rolled over Bennett County. Head coach at Wall, Lex Heathershaw, on tonight. Coach, always good to talk to you. Good luck here, and we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Go Eagles.
Appreciate the time. Lex Heathershaw on tonight, running a good show for the Wall Eagles football program. Can they bring home a state title? They've been good for a long time. Been good for a long time. They've been there, right? They've had titles. Can they get back there and get over the top? Wall Eagles off and running. And how about that? Son gets second at the mutton busting at the Central States Fair? That means you're tougher than a $2 steak. I don't care. That's tough right there. I never did the mutton busting at up in Montana. You know, my parents dropped me on my head too much as it was. I could not I could not step into that. Not quite tough enough. Not quite tough enough, but leave it to the Heathershaw boys. Lex Heathershaw, head coach at Wall. My source telling me a state championship contender. Keep an eye on Wall football. Let's get into who's hot and who's not right now, right here, right now. Who's hot and who's not on the Nate Brown Show. Wrapping up the Monday, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch. Remember the Pizza Ranch for Wednesday night, kids night. One child 12 and under eats free for every regular priced adult. The Pizza Ranch Buffet Wednesdays in the new Fun Zone Arcade expansion. Rapid City Pizza Ranch South. Come for the buffet, stay for the Fun Zone Arcade with 3,000 new square feet. In my Who's Hot category, I just saw this afternoon. The Florida Gators, you know the arms race in college sports. The Florida Gators just unveiled their new football, locker room, facility, all this stuff. Okay, and I'm looking through the pictures. I'm like, okay, I want to see just what the Florida Gators have here. Here's the headline in my Who's Hot. Every Florida Gators player locker, his locker, not the locker room lounge or anything. Okay, every player's locker, estimated cost $15,000. They have, every bell and whistle and this and that, and they got a cryotherapy. They got every Florida Gators football player locker, personal locker, estimated at a $15,000 price tag. Do you buy that? What's in there? What do I get 5 years younger in there? I get to step in the locker and is it a time machine? $15,000. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category tonight, I didn't want to mention it. I will mention it in my Who's Not. It's not a massive deal, but I'm going to point it out. The Broncos, the other night, Saturday afternoon, played the Bills and got blown away. No starters at all, hardly, like 3 guys played a little bit. So it's not, don't panic, but I'm going to put the Broncos in my Who's Not because they got blown away and they cannot run the ball at all. They aren't running the ball at all. So I'll just leave it at that. Broncos get blown away by the Bills, couldn't run the ball at all. Let's see if real football makes a difference. I pray and hope, because that wasn't great Saturday at Buffalo. Back tomorrow at 4 on The Nate Brown Show. Thanks for listening. The podcast, The Nate Brown Show podcast, going up tonight. The Odd Couple takes over right now.
Yes, indeed. We are The Odd Couple. I am Chris. He is Ephraim, and we are live.